So I just want to preface this video by saying I like Kyle Kulinski. I think he is someone you should definitely subscribe to. I would not suggest otherwise. That said, this video is, I think, an example of what it looks like to buy into the narrative that the mainstream media is putting forward. Take a look at this.
So former President Donald Trump went on Fox News, and the whole point of it was to bash Biden. But in typical Donald Trump fashion, he massively overreached, and this is the line of attack that he went with.
Now, before I show you the clip, I just want to give you some more information that Kyle Kulinski didn't give here. So, Donald Trump is censored. Full stop. He is censored. The mainstream media, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, you go down the list, every single platform, Donald Trump is censored. He is not allowed to go on there. He's not allowed to communicate with you. You are no longer connected with the horse's mouth. Just understand that. Now, that said, Donald Trump has appeared once in person. Once. It was during a CPAC speech where he gave a scripted speech, nowhere of which he mentioned censorship, which should indicate to you, if you were any bit aware of what was going on at the time, you just would have noticed that he didn't talk about his Twitter ban. That was the number one most important thing to Donald Trump. Twitter. If you ban him and then he doesn't talk about it, that's a good indication that what you're listening to isn't Donald Trump. And so, of course, the speech that he gave at the CPAC, I beg you to watch that video. He does not go off script, and when he does, you can tell what he says off script directly contradicts what he says on script. So there are two Trumps if you watch that CPAC speech. I highly recommend you watch my video on that. So Trump is going on Fox News. This is the second time that Donald Trump gets to appear in public. You have not seen him since, so he gets to give words to you. This is his opportunity. He is on Fox News. He has the opportunity to speak. So what does he say?
No, they're going to destroy our country in other ways, too, if you look at what's going on. You're going to have packed the court.
Well, Montana
you're going to have big tax increases. They're going to take your guns away. I mean, take a look at what they're doing with take a look at what's coming up, and I predicted it all. Now, I must say, I never thought that Biden, and it's not Biden, it's other people that are, putting stuff in front of him.
You don't think it's him?
But I never thought that Biden in a million years would be worse. Nobody did. Would be far worse than Bernie Sanders. This is Bernie Sanders on steroids.
So let me clarify something. This is not Donald Trump. This is a phone call of Donald Trump. Okay? Just so that everyone understands, this is not a live version of Donald Trump where people can ask him questions, where people can communicate with him. You don't get to see Donald Trump. The only way I buy any of the words that Donald Trump has to say is if it's off script and if the public gets to attend. Otherwise, this could easily be synthesized. This is something that is easily available with AI technology. Go watch 2 Minute Papers. It's a great YouTube channel. This stuff is already available to the US government. So it's super easy to make Donald Trump say whatever he wants to say. Pretty soon here, already technically you can deep fake an entire Donald Trump if you wanted to. That was available years ago. I'm kind of surprised Fox News wasn't even able to synthesize that. But this is definitely not what Donald Trump would want to say. On top of that, Donald Trump was aware of how Bernie Sanders was more progressive than Joe Biden. He made fun of Joe Biden early on because he wasn't progressive enough. And then later he flipped on that because it looked like he was kind of forced to. Then he was censored. Now we can't hear him. So apparently he goes on Fox News and still doesn't mention anything about his Twitter ban. Still nothing about the Reddit ban or the YouTube ban. He hasn't been able to go out in public. He hasn't been able to talk to journalists. He hasn't been able to communicate with the outside world. So the second time he gets the opportunity to do that, he still doesn't mention that. That's very, very, very difficult to believe.
This is what he's doing with all, and you haven't seen anything yet.
These guys are so silly.
And this is Guile, and you can watch the rest of this video. I won't, but This is Kyle buying into the narrative. This is an example of leftists not really doing their homework, and that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, keep in mind, this is the furthest left person I could find who made this mistake, but there are so many YouTubers that are looking at these videos and assuming that Donald Trump is actually saying words, when in reality, there are no public events. This is Fox News. You're just going to believe that Fox News is providing you viable information. You're going to believe that the evidence that Fox News is going to put forward here is believable. I highly doubt he actually said any of those words, because that's not the thing that he would care about right now. He doesn't give a shit. He's not going to run again because he knows he can't. He can't even fucking talk right now. Why do you think he would want to run again? He doesn't have the ability to communicate. If his communication is censored, he knows he can't win. You can't win if your entire voice is controlled by your opposition. That's the whole point of fascism, Kyle. This is super unfortunate, and I really hope that future YouTubers can learn from this. There's a lot more going behind the scenes than you think. And you should really question whether or not, when you listen to Donald Trump post-insurrection, are you listening to Donald Trump? Kind of interesting how he never defended himself in person during the Senate hearings. He only put forward his lawyer, and his lawyer was absolute garbage. He didn't want to defend himself, which is kind of weird considering he was censored. See, once you are censored, you have the fucking high ground, okay? You have the high ground. You can go out on TV and say things. You can say, I have been censored. You have the high ground. Everyone's going to look at you and be like, holy shit, he was censored. He has so much to say. Why were you censored? What do you have to hide? What are people trying to hide? None of that. None of that is being done by any of these YouTubers. This is weak journalism. Honestly, this is just reactionary. I hate to call it that, but this is reactionary things. This is not journalism. This is just you relaying us what Fox News says and then reacting. And your reaction is super fucking typical. It's unfortunate, Kyle.